G'day everyone, Declan from Elross Caravans. Well, a brand new van in a brand new factory. So let's take a look at the new ECX-R. Well, the only fair thing is to obviously start on the outside of the vehicle like we do with most of our van tours. This van obviously is a brand new model lineup for us here at Elross. We'll talk a little bit more about the colour choice, colour selection, but first I'd probably like to touch on the most important change that we have on the new R models, which is the underpinnings of the chassis and of course the ATX airbag suspension that we are running now on this R model. So first up with the ATX suspension, it's a 4.5 ton rating and that goes across the whole board of dual axle systems that are available from the ATX range by Cruisemaster. It also comes with an M46 remote reservoir shock absorber, which has tuning adjustment for your bump rebound and compression settings as well. So if you're someone that likes to dive deeper into tunability of your suspension setup, this is a very worthwhile option. A second variant, like we've already touched on previous versions, is that the airbag, the sleeve over airbag that we use on the ATX is slightly different to that of the XTF airbag suspension. So it's more in line with what you'd find in a truck airbag itself. And architecturally overall, the suspension's been designed to be a lot beefier than the current XTF airbag as well. So that does come with a weight penalty, unfortunately, and there's just no way of working around that. If you do go the ATX, the suspension overall is going to be heavier. Probably the biggest change between the two suspensions comes to servicing and set up for your toe and caster adjustment. So on the XTF airbag, you've only got this cam section that can be locked off via a nylock nut on one side, whereas the ATX suspension system here, they've actually given us cam holes or dowel positions where you can actually get your suspension tuned to where you want, and then you can just simply bolt through the cam dowel, and that's going to lock the suspension in place. So that's going to be a lot better for long distance traveling and serviceability in terms of the suspension. So we'll walk around to the back of the vehicle because there's been a few key changes towards the back of the van now as well. So obviously we may have touched on this on earlier videos that you may remember. We've forgone the cutaway back on the back, and that's from the R model all the way through to the ECX. So now we just have a straight back. That's from a manufacturing perspective, and also a weight reduction technique that we've tried to use in this case. So all models now have a straight back on them. There's more than enough clearance in most scenarios for people that's not going to be an issue. We've also changed the LED light setups as well now. So we've gone away from the round hole version to the straight ones, and it's a sequential indicator as well. And then obviously, as standard on the R model, you'll get the ladder package on the rear of the vehicle as well. Now, as we come around a bit further, probably a little bit of a story for everyone in terms of in terms of the colour scheme and why we've picked this, this style of design. So there is a bit of a story behind why we've chosen to do a different graphic on the side of the van. There is significance in several different ways. So we wanted to pay tribute, obviously, to, first of all, that this colour scheme is our 40th year anniversary special. So we're harking back to the early 80s of when Elross first burst onto the scene. So this sort of colour scheme is a homage to that sort of era of van. I think it does look really, really cool in terms of a colour scheme, and this colour scheme is only available on a 40th anniversary R model. So this is only going to be available for the next year. So you've got 12 months to book a place if you want to get a colour scheme like this on your van. Now, in terms of the actual graphic design itself, what we've done here is in local Aboriginal language. This 4 lines here represents that you are travelling, and these 4 lines here, obviously in Aboriginal language, is actually round circles. So the 4 round circles weren't going to really work with our scheme, so we've modified it slightly. But this is your resting place. So what we've tried to create here is acknowledgement that, you know, a caravan is a travelling resting place, essentially. So you'll travel along in your van, get to your site, park up for the night or however long, and then you'll move along again. So that's what the side branding on our Elross ECX-Rs represents, that we are building travelling resting places. Obviously, all of the usual suspects when it comes to fitment and features. So 320 litres of water storage via 2 160 litre water tanks is on board this one. We've got our filler system that's just there, so you can fill your water tanks on demand quickly and easily. And if we keep panning along this side, on the new R models and ECXs, because we don't have this apron style here anymore, this is now your 50 amp Anderson plug, which is just kept up under there and tucked up out of the way so it doesn't get damaged. And then as we come along to the front, a little bit of a different setup. So normally on an R model, you will be getting a Deluxe toolbox as standard. However, this particular client that decided to build a first R with us, he's obviously an avid off-road touring motorcyclist, so he's going to be taking his motorcycle with him. So he asked us to come up with a design so he could fit his dirt bike on the front. Now that obviously went into a lot of calculation and design of the entire chassis and axle position on this van, so it is a little bit different to what you'd find on a normal ECX-R19. However, we had to allow for the weight dynamic that was going to be placed on the front of this van in that case as well. So that's what we've tried to achieve here for this client. Probably one of the big changes that you'll see on an ECX-R is an ECX-R is fitted standard with a Titan blackjack trailer jack. We've moved this way because the R model we want to differentiate in a few areas with some extra features. So it's just very simple to operate, just a button up on a reduction gear drive, up and down. It's not lightning speeds quick, but it does make the job easier. It also has a manual override as well, so you can put a gear in there if you need to, if for whatever reason you lose power or something similar. Other key features is this van has got, like I said earlier, a 4.5 tonne tow rating, so DO45 on the front of this, as well as the high-speed steel chain to get the appropriate rating. All Elross chassis are rated to 4.5 tonne in the first place, so we don't really need to do anything with the chassis there. It's just more of a change in terms of your chains and also the hitch there as well. It also features a tap on the A-frame. You've got your Anderson plugs there for connection to run your BMS system and charge the batteries while you're driving. And then also just up the front here, we've also placed the bayonet for your gas. So if you are running an outdoor cooktop or something like that, it's just a nice easy access position for you as well. And that about wraps up around the van tour on the external, so let's go and take a look on the inside now. So as we walk up into the van, obviously we've just run it right around the outside of the van, so we've got no 240 power plugged in, but it's quite a warm day here in Perth, so we're going to throw the aircon on. We've got the setup, so we've got the mains changeover switch here down, and we've just turned the aircon on, so it's going to cool the van down fairly quickly now. And that's just purely working straight off the battery system. So a lot of people are probably going to ask what the size of the system is. So on an R model, we've bumped up the solar system requirements, also the battery management size, and also the overall battery bank as well. And this is just fed by the demand of people wanting to be off-grid for longer, and also to power more things as well. So induction cooking is, for example, a big power draw if you use that consistently, and same with the aircon as well. So what we've done here on the R model, you'll get 600 amps of lithium battery storage, which is huge. And also that means on the roof, it's 1,000 watts of solar on your roof space, and you also still get the Anderson plug as well, that you can put in some extra voltage as well there via a fold out solar panel or whatnot. And what the biggest change is obviously to redox charging system. So in the past, that's probably been the downfall of the redox charging system, is it can only charge at 32.5 amps is its biggest draw. So currently, by now, they should have released their 70 and 50 amp BMS systems. They're still in a beta stage, so they haven't actually fully released those. However, we've got access to be able to give our clientele 70 amps worth of BMS charging power. So that allows you to take the full advantage of the 1,000 watts of solar array that is on your roof. So you can charge up your battery system a lot faster and a lot more efficiently in this mannerism as well. Now, it's all well and good to have a lot of lithium battery storage, a lot of solar on your roof, but unfortunately all of that is going to come at a weight penalty. So unfortunately, because of all of these extra add-on features that are now standard in the R series, the vans are tearing in at a heavier tear weight. There's no real way that we can work around it other than the performance benefits that we've tried to add in terms of chassis reduction in weight, removing the departure angle from the back of the van. However, a lot of these options that are now standard in the R model, a majority of them is what people usually would normally fit to an ECX model van. Probably one of the other cool little additional features that we'll be now doing, and this is regardless if it's an R model or an ECX, we've also started to get all of our light switches all coordinated with engraved writing on there, so there should be no confusion over the lighting systems anymore, which a lot of customers used to have with so many switches, which is totally understandable. So that's just a nice little 1%er in terms of the overall ergonomics of the van that'll make it a lot easier for clients to decipher what's what light. One other interesting feature that we can now offer as well is we've now got access to flatbed microwaves. They've become quite popular over the last year or so, so we can certainly spec a flatbed microwave if it's necessary for your request. If you don't want a microwave, we don't have to put a microwave in there as well. And finally, just Sirocco fans inside. You can never have enough. 2 to 3 Sirocco fans is what I always recommend. But yeah, that's entirely your decision as well. If you want 5, we can put 5 in. And then probably the last thing to just mention as well, the Carafan CP700 does come standard on an ECX-R, so it's not a feature that you need to upgrade or option in. It is a standard fit. Now, all of these things that I've talked about today, they're pretty much everything that you're going to find that's going to be in the ECX-R. And why the ECX-R has been born is because we've wanted to develop a van that had pretty much all the features that you would require out of an ECX. So we sat down with the design team and we worked out that there's a lot of clients that were fitting 20 to 30 options in an ECX. So it was really a no-brainer at the end of the day. We wanted to give customers something that just had all the fruit on it as standard, and you don't need to add any options. And that's what we've done here with the ECX-R. And we've tried to differentiate it a little bit with a different color scheme, a couple of different color options, and also the biggest difference is the ATX airbag that runs underneath the Elross chassis as well. So they're the key takeaways from this. If you'd like to know any more information on the new ECX-R, please get in touch with us. It is very close to Christmas, so we will have limited ability to get back to inquiries over the Christmas period, but we are back to full operational work on the 9th of January. So shoot us an email, send us your inquiry, and we'll endeavour to get back to you as quick as we can. Thanks, guys.